Hey everybody, it's me. I figured I might as well do an hour or so of streaming since it's Sunday night. I don't have to go into work tomorrow since it's a holiday here in Canada. I think it's a holiday in America too. It's Labor Day, so I figured I'd come on, do a stream, and just say hi to people and maybe play a little more Game of Thrones. Had a lot of fun with the live stream last night. People interacting with the quality content. I didn't really receive too many bits, cheers, and subs as I might have hoped I would receive, but yeah. Let me just make sure that the chat is up and running, and then we'll be as golden as Persona Golden. Let's see here. Are you going to embed in Steam? Play as the Tywin. Thank you, Ruff. That was actually... Let me just check and see if this is working on Twitch. Test. Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure that the chats are working for both Twitch and... this. Twitch and this. That is a very good way of putting it. Let me just look at this for a second. If I can make these messages just a little smaller. That's too small. Let's see here. Okay, that looks pretty good. As always, if the chat's too big, too small, too hard to read, let me know. So yeah, I wanted to do a little bit of the Clash of Kings scenario today. Specifically, I kind of wanted to talk a bit about some of the strategy that was used during it and some of my issues with it, kind of do a bit of analysis on that. If I sound a little sleepy, that's because I took my my sleeping pills, which I probably shouldn't have done before this stream, but in the other way, it might actually make this better. So it'll make me less restrained in the stuff I'll say. But you know what they like to say? Nothing I can do, it is what it is, but I digress. Now, where was I again? Still kind of losing my train of thought here. Oh, hey there, Sam. Good to see you as always. I'm just doing a stream before I go to bed to make it feel like I accomplished something today. Because, in general, I don't know, I'm just I'm just rambling while I wait for the game to load. Okay, so we're going to play as streaming on Ambien Mad Lad. Yeah. By the way, if anybody, I'm just going to ask the chat, should I be a full-time streamer? Should I become a full-time Twitch streamer? I just like people to say in the chat whether or not I should. Also, just while we're here, you're going to get a special preview. So, I've been wanting to make a new avatar for a long time now. So this is what I have, and I know a lot of people are going to just yell at me for this, but oh well, it is what it is. Let's see here. So that is the new avatar I was thinking of having. Okay, is it time for the Screams of Horror? I kind of wanted to switch over to a Espeon with the alpha for Argent, just because Espeon's my favorite Pokemon, and I kind of wanted something with a bit more of a face for an avatar instead of just having the Cairo. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's dated, and I'd like something a little more kind of cute and personable. So I'm just going to leave that up there, and people can give me their thoughts on it as we go through the night. So let's see here. Yeah, that seems to be the one people are voting for on Facebook, at least. Now where was I? Let's get back to Game of Thrones. So, we take control of Lord Tywin Lannister. He doesn't have a subtitle at the moment. I don't really know what Tywin's title would be. The old lion? The wise lion? I don't know. I'm sure that there's Nah, I don't really want to put it over the Espeon. I think it looks better like that. Okay, where was I going with this? Yeah, so we're playing as Lord Tywin Lannister. So I'm going to select family person just for the health bonus. So at the moment in this war... Oh, okay, Brian. PM me. Sorry, I keep forgetting to have you on. I haven't forgotten about you. I will give Christ Chan a plug. Actually, you know what? I'm on stream now, so I'll give Christ Chan a plug here. Has Christ Chan the page been banned yet? Okay. I will just plug that now. Don't worry, guys. We'll get into this. I'm just doing a plug. So just for people here... please go and follow my friend here's page on Facebook. He's a good guy. But anyways, okay, so let's get back to this. I'm getting sidetracked, and it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress. Yeah, so in this scenario, we are Tywin Lannister fighting on the side of the Iron Throne against Robb Stark, Stannis Baratheon, and the Brotherhood Without Banners. Now, what used to happen when you'd load this scenario is that the Tyrells would be allied with Renly, and Renly would be in the game, and some random event could come about that would normally have Stannis killing Renly, but if you played as Renly, I think you could do that and make it so that Stannis doesn't kill you and then participate in the war. So by this point in time, that's already happened. Mace Tyrell has joined the war on our side. And I believe Marjorie, it starts off married to Joffrey. Yes, they're married at this point in time. So it kind of starts off a bit later. Spoiler alert. Well, it does say Clash of Kings. I mean, this is all spoilers from the book Clash of Kings, so... It is what it is. Nothing I can do. Let me see here. Anyways, so yes, someone was asking the interesting question, of course, about Tywin's stats. So Tywin we have is 57 at the time of the book. He is a brilliant steward, which is accurate. He is quick, a knight, a trained fighter, widowed. Widowed prevents you from getting remarried because Tywin didn't want to get remarried after his wife died. We have the sword Ice. We have temperate, proud, diligent, ambitious, cynical, patient, authoritative, and ruthless. Why is there an Eevee? That's what I was thinking of for my new avatar, the Silver Espeon. So I just had it up there to get people's thoughts on it. Just because I don't really like my old avatar anymore, so I was thinking of switching over. So Espeon, I just really like Espeon. Let's see here. Now, where was I going to go with this? Yep, so Tywin has excellent stats all around, good diplomacy. I think Tywin has the highest stewardship in the game, very high intrigue and decent learning. So I need a spy master. Let's see, I'll make Prince Kevin my... do you also like trains? I don't know anything about trains. This becomes a furry Pokemon channel. Let's see here. Oversee construction, Lannisport, train children, perform statecraft, oversee realm. Okay, so before I unpause, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the whole campaign. So Rob Stark's campaign never made a lot of sense to me. Is this a Game of Thrones mod? Yes, this is a mod for CK2. If you go back and you look at my broadcast of this from yesterday, I talk a lot more about it then. Like I go into a bit of background about the mod, but yes, this is a Game of Thrones. This is a mod for the Game of Thrones. Oh, 1 second. There's some bullshit here. It looks like this broadcast does not have a title for some reason. Let me just look at this. Is this the current broadcast? I don't know why this didn't work. This is kind of an issue I have sometimes with with Twitch. Is Twitch doesn't seem to like to save information when Hey everybody, it's me. I figured I might as well do an hour or so of... Okay, there we go. So yeah, that is an issue. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this stuff out on Twitch. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a professional. I'm a professional streamer. Let's see, video preview. Title this broadcast. This guy is hot. Let's see here. Let me just see here. Sorry guys, I apologize. I'm trying to figure out this bugged mechanics. What are your thoughts on bodybuilder Rich Pina passing away? Who's bodybuilder Rich Pina? I've never heard of that person before in my life. Are they some kind of I don't know, something? Anyways, where were we? Oh well, maybe we'll try not to worry about this for the moment. I'll figure out how these bugged Twitch mechanics work at some point in time. I'm kind of ruining the stream by talking about it. Is this a Gamergate stream? No source size. This is not. Okay, let's see here. What the fuck is this not working? Okay, Crusader. Kings 2. I want this to be strategy. Chill. And relax. Okay, English. Done. Okay, there we go. So back to CK2. Argent, you can't stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time, only if you are partnered on Twitch. Yeah, I'll figure that out at some point in time. For the moment, it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress. I'll figure out the rules about that later. I doubt anybody will call me on it, and if they do, I don't really care. So, let's see here. What are we looking at? So yeah, when Robb Stark marched south to take on the Lannisters, for whatever reason, the Tullys decided to join him. Because I think initially they just thought that this was going to be a normal civil war. A normal civil war where, I don't know, there's a fight. It can resolve through a peace agreement. The issue was after they beheaded Ned Stark, there was really no hope for peace. Especially after we had... what's his name? Especially after we had Robb Stark declare himself king in the north. That basically prevented any hope of peace with any of the factions, because neither Renly nor Stannis nor any other claimant to the Iron Throne would accept Robb Stark seceding from the north. So it basically just fucked everything up. So Robb Stark had to attempt to somehow win a victory against all the various factions that were against him. But what would a Robb Stark victory have looked like? The Lannisters were never going to give up, regardless of what happened. Let's see here. No, there will be no peace. Mr. Tyrek. Yeah, kick him out. So yeah, so where was I again? Yeah, so he kind of marched south, but I never really knew what Robb Stark's victory plans were. Like, basically what would happen is Robb Stark would keep... Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so we have Willis, who is going to be married to a Lannister. Oh, that's excellent. Willis, is, you who only watch the show know, is the heir to Highgarden. He is the oldest son of Mace Tyrell, and well known for being both intelligent and kind. So he is now married to a Lannister, so that cements my family's reputation. And yeah, so the Lannisters are a very large family. But yeah, I don't get what Robb Stark's plan was. Was he just going to kill Lannister dead until he agreed to his terms? I'm not even really sure what his terms were, to be honest. Were his terms to, like, I guess they were complete independence from the North, for the North, but he should have known there was no circumstances under which anyone was going to agree to that. Even if, like, to make the position weirder, they also maintained that Stannis was the true heir to the Iron Throne. And the issue with that is, if Stannis ever took the Iron Throne, Stannis would immediately begin a war against the various, against the North and the Riverlands to try to incorporate them into the realm. So yeah, really nothing about it made any sense, at least to me. Robb kind of went to war without having a plan, and he continued the war without really having a plan. And that's just kind of an ongoing issue throughout all of Robb's campaigns. He won every battle, but when you're winning battles, your battles have to serve a some sort of purpose. You have to be pursuing an overall strategic objective. Robb didn't have a strategic objective. There was no case under which he could have won. Like, what would have a northern victory have looked like? I guess you could say a northern victory would be a scenario under which the South allowed the North to declare victory, secession, but like I said, that was never going to happen. It just wasn't. And that was kind of one of the many issues with Robb. What he probably should have done is just bent the knee and given up and just kind of gone north and tried to plan. Like, tried to come up with... Oh, and the game crashed because CK2 is super unstable. CK2 will just crash no matter what you do. But hopefully it won't take too much time to reload. Let me see if I turn on everything, if that helps. Okay, I'll turn off auto build. Okay, there we go. So that's reloading now. DLC issues. I could say that I'm experiencing bug mechanics, but I mean, this is whatchamacallit. Anyway, how can Daenerys still not get on the throne? 3 dragons would be very good tools for intimidation. Most of the houses would burn the knee so they won't get burned. You say 3 dragons. Are you sure about that? This is a spoiler stream. I'm just letting everybody know. There is going to be major, major spoilers. But, yeah. So, Dany doesn't have 3 dragons anymore. She has 2 now. The White Walk, the others have a dragon. You know, it really irritated me that they changed their name from others to the White Walkers. Because to me, I like the name Other because Other, I don't know, it just was kind of interesting. R plus L equals D is greater than R plus L equals J. My favorite theory, and this is not true, and there's no way this is true, is that Jon Snow is the son of Ned and Ashara Dayne, and that Ned and Ashara Dayne were married, but Ned had to set her aside when he married Cat, and that Lyanna and Rhaegar's son is Aegon, Aegon the Sixth, and that random Septa who's traveling with them is Ashara Dayne. So that's kind of what I like. I kind of like the idea that Ned is actually Jon Snow's father, and that it's just kind of, but he's legitimate because Ned was legally married to Ashara. Which is kind of, I guess, kind of my alternative that I like. In terms of who I support in the books, I actually really like Aegon the Sixth. If I had to pick any of the current claimants for the Iron Throne, I would probably support Aegon the Sixth Targaryen. I really like him. If nothing else, he's the only one who's Faith of the Seven. Dany, I don't think can be queen because she's not Faith of the Seven. Most monarchies traditionally... Okay, I've never read the books, so I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so in the books, there is a character who's introduced named Aegon, otherwise known as Aegon the Sixth, and he claims that he is the son of... He was the son of, what was it called again? Rhaegar and Elia Dorne, a Martell, and that when their children were about to be killed by the Mountain, Varys swept Aegon with another baby, and the other baby was killed instead, and Varys spirited the child away across the Free Cities, where he was raised by Rhaegar's best friend, Jon Connington, and he was raised to be the king, the prince who was promised. So basically, that's the story behind Aegon. None of this is in the show, so I won't go into the whole fake-on thing, but yeah, a lot of people don't think he's actually that, because that whole thing sounds super improbable. But we're sure he's a dragon of some sort. Most people think he's a Blackfire. He's the last Blackfire, who are the pretenders to the Iron Throne. They were... Let me try to think of how to explain the Blackfires. Okay, so basically, during the reign of Aegon the Unworthy, Aegon the Unworthy basically fucked everything that moves. So he had dozens and dozens of children. Of his children, a substantial number of them were known as the Great Bastards. The Great Bastards being the children of his liaisons with highborn women. So have you looked at Preston Jacobs, the Game of Thrones channel? I would recommend looking at the Order of the Green Hands channel. They do a really good job. They have a lot of interesting theories. I don't think any of their theories are probably right, but I do think they have a lot of interesting theories. Carlton Banks, I'll answer that when I have time. Very roughly, it's based on the War of the Roses and the history of England from the time of William the Conqueror on. So what was I thinking about again? It seems like this game is having a lot of trouble loading, so I'm just going to close this and restart Steam. Okay. Regarding the show and books of Game of Thrones, it kind of varies. A lot of the early seasons were very similar between the two, but as time goes on, the less similar the two of them are, if that makes any kind of sense. They kind of desync over time. The show was really good up until about season 5. I forget if it was season 5 that was worse, the worst scene. I think that was the worst one. Okay, that was weird. What else was I talking about? Parentage of Jon Snow. I talked about Aegon Targaryen. Yeah, I like Aegon a lot. So, I don't know. My issue with Daenerys being queen, I have a lot of issues with her. One of them is pretty much historically every noble house had some sort of religious requirements to inherit the throne. That's something that's pretty much universal in terms of how inheritance systems works. Like the Orleanists, the Habsburgs, the Bourbons, they all have the requirement that the heir to the throne or whoever is the head of the household has to be Catholic. The Hohenzollerns had the requirement that the head to the throne had to be Lutheran or Reich Church, which was a combination of Lutheranism and Calvinism. The various monarchies in Northern Europe have rules that the heir to the throne or the ruler of the throne has to be whatever the state Protestant church is. So pretty much every dynasty in history has religious requirements to it. And it's pretty clear in Game of Thrones that the Targaryen dynasty has the religious requirement that you have to be Faith of the Seven. And Dany just isn't Faith of the Seven. So, to me, I think that raises a lot of questions as to her legitimacy. Why if she can inherit or not. Yes, thank you. England must be Anglican. Catholics can't inherit, which is an issue with Stannis, and I think there is some doubt as to whether or not Stannis could inherit the throne because he's not Faith of the Seven. The faith of the crown of the Seven Kingdoms was specifically made to be Faith of the Seven. I don't think there's any real argument on that. Sorry guys, I don't know why this is taking so long to load. This is bugged Paradox game mechanics. I'm really sorry. Like, I feel bad about this, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress. Let me just reopen this in Steam and run the Steam validator and see if that fixes it. That's why I like to call them paradox. They're kind of a paradox because they're really good games, but they just don't run. And that's kind of a problem when you're trying to play a game and it doesn't run. So what was I saying again? I was talking about Aegon. I was talking about Game of Thrones. I was talking about... Stannis may not fill the religion requirement, but legally he's the rightful heir. Yeah, I guess you could make an argument that since Stannis is the patriarchal head of... he is the patriarchal head of the House Baratheon, that he's able to change the religious requirements for the house, because that is historically that did happen from time to time, like with regards to Charlemagne and the Carolingian dynasty. I'm not sure who it was who decided that the dynasty would convert. Like when we go to what's it called again? Lost my train of thought there again. But have you seen the other DSP music parodies? Yes, I have seen the DSP music parodies. They're pretty hilarious. But yeah, like I'm trying to remember, the Merovingians were able to change the religion of their dynasty. Constantine was. So I guess, yeah, you can make the case that the head of a dynasty can determine what the religion is. So, I mean, that's kind of argued for Stannis. With regards to Daenerys, though, I get she's technically the head of her dynasty, but her dynasty is kind of... I don't know, her dynasty is kind of a mess, to be honest. Stannis the Manus. Yeah, I like Stannis. Stannis is pretty badass. I like him, but I like Aegon the Sixth probably the most. I really like, what's his name again? Tommen. I feel so bad for Tommen, because in the books he's just completely doomed. In the show, yeah, he didn't really laugh. He didn't really last very long, but I thought he could have been a really good king. I think he had a lot of the traits that were necessary to make a good king. Willingness to listen to advice, a willingness to be a genuine concern for his people, genuine love for his family. Just everything about Tommen seemed to suggest that he was a really good stand-up guy. And I think with proper leadership, and he had good advisors. Kevin Lannister is an excellent advisor. No, you can't use my name. Sorry, Brian. I would ask you not to use my name. What was I thinking of again? Okay, let's try loading this again. Wait a minute. They're adding in... Oh my god. I was getting worried that they were going to add in the next Game of Thrones mod in the next CK2 expansion, China, which would have been a really bad idea and is a really bad idea, but they decided to do that, so yeah. Let's see here. Play the Medieval 2 a Game of Thrones mod instead. Yeah, but that takes forever. In Game of Thrones, up to season, 5 is... How it kind of goes is, season 1 through 4 are, rock solid. They're really good. Then season 5 is generally regarded by most people as the worst season. Season 6 is a bit better. Season 6 isn't quite as bad. But the current season is kind of a clusterfuck. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's not as bad as season 5 was, but it's clear that things are just kind of falling apart. Kind of one of the really big and obvious problems with kind of some more recent of the Game of Thrones stuff is that it's very clear that there's not a lot of coordination between the writers. That seems to be a very large ongoing issue with the series. Is it's very clear like the different writers don't talk to each other, so you get a lot of just random stuff that doesn't go anywhere. Probably the best example of that would be I don't know if anybody remembers this. There's this scene where Stannis goes to the Iron Bank, and the Iron Bank gives him like this massive new loan to continue his war, and it's never referenced again that he's getting all of these mercenaries. It's like something extremely important to the world, but they just kind of forget about it. And it's never referenced again, of course. So, hopefully this is loading now. Oh, it's so fucking shitty. What's a clacker? I have no idea what the fuck a clacker is. Robert Jordan. I've never read anything by Robert Jordan, so I'm going to have to go with GRRM. Oh my god, why is this so shitty? I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna fucking close this and reinstall the mod and see if that's what the issue is. Like I said, I'm really sorry. This was working. I was playing this like an hour ago. Like I had it open when we started. And now for whatever reason it won't even load. Okay, let's see here. This is just live vlog, you petting your cat. Yeah, my cat's not around because he's a bastard. I have my fidget spinner here, so I'll just play with that while we're talking. Well, that's playing. I guess I'll load like Civ 6 just to have something on. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about the most recent Game of Thrones season. Like, I don't know how to feel about what's his name and what's his name getting together. Who are they again? Oh yeah, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. I just don't really know how to feel about it, because on one hand it's kind of something I've been anticipating happening for a long time. On the other hand, it is Wincest, and like no matter how winny Wincest is, it's always kind of there's always kind of issues stemming from that. Okay, window capture. Why is this not window capturing properly? Bugged window mechanics. Okay, let me see if I can get this. Game capture. It really doesn't want to capture Civ 6 for some reason. Fuck you, OBS. Stop sucking. Okay, load. Oh, here we go. Okay, it's finally working. Alright, there we go. So I'll just resume the game I was playing in Civ 6. I actually kind of like Civ 6. I know a lot of people just fucking hate Civ 6, but I like it. Well, I don't like... They don't really have your who is my Game of Thrones waifu. That would be Sansa. It's always been Sansa, and it probably always will be Sansa. I've always liked Sansa. She was my favorite character in the original novel, and she kind of continued to be my favorite character throughout the novels. So, yeah. Let's see here. One of the things I hated about the TV show is they made all the characters irreligious who were religious in the books. Like Sansa, I always remembered as being fairly devout to the Seven in the books, and now she's like randomly an atheist in the show. And then you also had what was it again? Davos was religious in the books, and now he's an atheist in the show. I think there were some other characters who were like that. It was fairly common to have religious characters in the books, but the only real one that we have left, although it's played down quite a bit, is Catelyn. Catelyn, I don't know if it's ever explicitly stated, but Catelyn gives the impression of being exceedingly religious. She seems to pray a great deal, and she does those things where she makes I forget what they're called, those things that they make in the Faith of the Seven as part of a form of prayer. But yeah, they got rid of a lot of them. The High Sparrow was fucking based, and I just want that to go on record of just how based the High Sparrow was. He literally like assembled a thought patrol and just kind of went throughout the Seven Kingdoms with his thought control just beating everything in his path down. Okay, let's see here. No, I want to launch CK2. I want to see if it's working so I can exit out of this and go back into CK2. 1 second. Let me just... Did he execute thoughts? Yes, he did. Well, he didn't execute thoughts per se. What he did was, because Cersei is like the ultra thought, the thought in chief, is he made her do a penance walk. So what the penance walk is you have to walk through the streets naked as a form of redemption. Yeah, so he made Cersei walk through the streets completely naked. Were there thought crimes? There was a lot of thought crimes. Thoughts destroyed the Game of Thrones. Because, I mean, what happens is in the Game of Thrones universe, CK2 game. Is it loading? I don't know. I'll just wait for it to load before I fuck around with it anymore. Yeah, but the High Septim is based, and I'm sad that Cersei decided to kill him off. But Cersei ruins everything, and I mean absolutely everything. That's just kind of the way she is. It was very satisfying, though, when Euron Greyjoy proved himself to be the Lord Commander of the Thought Patrol. And there's that awesome sea battle scene where he just showed up and he's like, I'm alpha as fuck. And he just killed a couple thoughts. Yeah. I kind of like Euron Greyjoy. The Sand Snakes are the worst. Okay, yeah. When I get a minute, I'll talk about that now. So the whole Sand Snake plot was pretty much the dumbest thing on the show. The Sand Snakes didn't really make any sense, and I've kind of been wanting to talk about it lately. And since I have a captive audience to bitch about it, I'm going to bitch about it now. So yeah, so nothing about the Sand Snakes made any kind of sense. So for those of you who aren't aware, basically the Sand Snakes are the bastard children of Oberyn Martell. He fucked so many women from all across the Seven Kingdoms. He basically has his own like army unit of all of his bastards. Since he's the Red Viper of Dorne, that's his name, and since they're his offspring, and bastards in Dorne from nobility are called Sand. They're the bastards of the Dornish Viper, so they're the Sand Snakes. So that makes sense. But the Sand Snakes, are really, really keen on getting revenge for Oberyn Martell's death. So after Oberyn Martell dies, they go to Doran Martell and they're like, "Look, Doran, we need to go to war against the Lannisters right now. We need to go to war with them. We need to enter this war." And Doran's like, "Look, Dorne is the smallest of the Seven Kingdoms. We don't really have an army. We'd have to go up against the Lannisters, the Reach, all these other people. We don't have a clear side to back. Dorne would just get curb stomped and we'd achieve absolutely nothing. I have a long-term plan to get revenge, which was to back Dany when she showed up. But you guys just be patient. I'm not going to allow Dorne to just get destroyed so I can feel good about myself." And the Sand Snakes were like, "No, that's not good enough. That's not good enough for us. You have to go to war right now. You have to fight. You have to kill the Sand Snakes. So you have to go in and kill the Lannisters." And people were just like, "But dude, this doesn't make any kind of sense. It's retarded." So because that was happening, the Sand Snakes come up with a plan that they're going to overthrow Doran Martell in a coup and run Dorne. And so what had happened was they had sent Myrcella south, the middle child of the Lannisters. They had Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella. So Myrcella is described as, well, she is, the actress who plays her is very pretty. She also gets the quick trade in Game of Thrones in the mod, and she's described as being very intelligent. So pretty much everybody loves Myrcella and thinks she's great. So she's engaged to marry Tristan Martell, who is the son of Doran Martell. In this one, they kind of merged Arianne Martell, Quentin Martell, and Tristan Martell into one person. So he's kind of like this teenage, I guess you could say, Spanish heartthrob. So him and Marcel and Myrcella Lannister Baratheon fall in love, and they get along really well. So they're flirting. They've started kissing. What's his name suggests that they move up their wedding just so they can start having sex. And yeah, so things are going well between them. But the Sand Snakes decide that they have to kill Myrcella because she's a Lannister, even though Myrcella had nothing to do with anything. She's literally just some random girl whose mother happens to be a complete cunt. But For whatever reason, like, no, we have to get revenge on, we have to kill Marcella. We also have to kill Tristan. Why they want to kill Tristan, I don't know. Tristan was completely uninvolved in any of this. Like, Tristan literally did nothing. He's just the son of Duran Martel. They're like, oh, you're a weak man, Tristan. You didn't do what you were supposed to do, despite being basically just becoming a man and having no actual power. The fact that you didn't cause a war with the Lannisters somehow means you have to die too, and they want to kill Duran too. Now, it's heavily implied in the books that Duran is widely beloved throughout Dorne. People love Tristan. They think he's a great... No, sorry, people love Duran Martell. He's universally regarded as a fair, just, intelligent ruler who's brought peace and prosperity to Dorne. Well, some people think he is excessively cautious. People still love the guy. He, like I said, he's very popular within Dorne. One second. I'm just changing the name of the stream. There we go. Yeah, so Duran Martell basically just wanted to keep out of the Iron Throne Wars. So some of the people felt that Dorne should have gotten more involved. But because of him not getting involved in wars that Dorne couldn't win, Dorne was pretty much completely untouched by the War of Five Kings. And Duran's whole idea was, at the end of the war, they'd be able to back Dany and provide her with all of their support. And he's kind of playing all sides, because his heir will marry Myrcella. So if Dany loses, he has a tie to the Lannisters that he can fall back on. Duran is a very cautious man who's playing the long game. And the Sand Snakes are just not interested in it. Duran's like, look, I don't want to destroy it. I'm going to try to fix... Yeah, I'm just changing the name of it. Just because, like, I wanted to do Game of Thrones the game, but obviously that just didn't work out. Let me just change this. There we go. Okay, there we go. So what wound up happening, for those of you who haven't gotten that far in the show, is Jaime and Bronn go to Dorne to try to save Myrcella, because for whatever reason they're worried that the Sand Snakes are fucking crazy and they're going to try to kill Myrcella to get... They go to Dorne to get Myrcella. I'm just trying to get this in my mind because it's retarded. They're like, yeah, these people are fucking crazy. They're probably going to kill Myrcella for absolutely no reason. Jaime, I need you to go and protect her daughter. So they show up and they try to infiltrate the Water Gardens at the same time as Game of Thrones, as the same time as Jaime is. They all get captured and thrown into jail. Now, it should be noted with regards to Duran Martell, at the Water Gardens, where he spends most of his time, he and his children play with the children of peasants and the small folk, etc. Dorne is a lot more egalitarian. Now, that partially comes from kind of their traditions with male-female, but it should also be noted that in Dorne there's kind of a proto-ethnic nationalism, because the Rhoynar are a different race of men, or a different ethnic group from the Andals and the First Men. So because of that, they have a more kind of direct connection to their rulers than they do in the other parts of the Seven Kingdoms. Like when Dorne was invaded, the small folk rose up and threw them out, which is something that hasn't happened whenever the Targaryens or whoever invades other parts of Westeros. There just isn't that kind of popular support, because in general they just see one lord is pretty much the same as another lord. It doesn't really matter who rules them, but to the Dornish it does. So Duran encourages his son to play with peasants, children of lower classes, etc., that sort of thing. Dorne is weird, because on the other hand, Dorne is really shitty because of the degeneracy in it. But I fucking digress. I've gone way off topic. So the Sand Snakes are like, look, we have to, for whatever reason, evangelize belief. We have to overthrow Doran Martell because he's weak and decadent, and he's not going to do immediately enough to avenge, what's his name? To avenge Duran. To avenge, God, I can't talk tonight. To avenge Oberyn Martell. Send an archaeologist here. How the fuck do I get archaeologists? Maybe it's a unit I build? I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, so what they do is they launch in like one of the shittiest scenes ever put on film. Like there's a bunch of, like, you can look it up. There's a bunch of places they show where there's like blatant continuity errors in which the Sand Snakes, like there's I forget, one of them, she's like doing a cartwheel and her hand, like the weapon in one of her hands, like she has a whip in one hand and a sword in the other, and after like it cuts, then she somehow switches weapons, so it goes from being in one hand to being in the other hand, and it's just really poorly shot. So yeah, so stuff like that happens in during the Dorne arc. So the Dornish succeed, the Sand Snakes succeed in poisoning Marcella with a really with some poison kiss. So Marcella dies in horrible agony, and you're like, well, why did they have to kill this like girl who didn't do anything? It's like, well, it's just because of revenge. It's because we're evil, and it's because girl power. And the fact that Doran Martell wouldn't kill this random girl who literally did nothing is a sign that he's a weak man. And after they kill him, they kill him, and they go, Dorne will never be wielded by weak men. The people will support the Sand Snakes. And I'm like, what the fuck? So they overthrew a popular, well-respected leader of a dynasty that's ruled Dorne for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And they're replacing him with a bunch of random bastards with no legitimacy whatsoever, who are kind of weirdos. And they killed an innocent girl. And unless Dorne is a nation of complete sociopaths, I can't really see them being like down with the fact that they just killed Marcella in cold blood. And they also killed Tristan. Tristan is on the ship because they were heading back to King's Landing, and he's just really like sad about it, and because his wife who died, well, the girl he was literally going to marry and he was in love with died. And two of the sand snakes come in and they stab him to death. And I'm like, well, why did they kill Duran? Why'd they kill Tristan? He literally was just, like, he did nothing. He was like 16 or 17 or something. Didn't have a chance to rule. And they're like, you're a weak man, so you have to die. Because Dorne is now going to be ruled by strong, independent women. Was basically what wound up happening. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened with regards to that whole fiasco. So the Martell dynasty is now extinct. They succeeded in wiping out the entire dynasty. I don't know who's prince now even. They just killed everybody off. So that nonsense happened, and the Sand Snakes are now somehow in control of Dorne. I don't know how that works. I don't know why the common people haven't overthrown them yet. I don't know why they did what they did. Now, there's a guy named the Dragon Demands, and he explains all of this. And the Dragon Demands basically explains that the people really like Indira Varma, who is the actress who plays Alira Sand. And so they wrote the entire Dorne subplot solely to give her more screen time. Like, that was the entire reason that was put in. Just to give her more screen time. Like, the whole Dorne plot was filmed last minute. They put zero effort into it. It was just because the actors wanted girl power. Like, it's treated as, like, the Sand Snakes are justified, and, like, it's good that they did what they did. Because it's, like, feminism and girl power that they killed some innocent girl. Killed the ruler of Dorne who didn't do nothing, and killed his son in cold blood. The show, at least in my opinion, kind of portrays it as being a good and righteous thing. And that season, as I've said, is widely regarded as being the worst. Season 6 is hated, or 5 is hated by pretty much everybody. Specifically, that episode is regarded as being the worst episode. Even by people who like, haven't read the books, they still think it's retarded. So yeah, so that was Dorne. It's, yeah. The whole Dorne plot. Benny Offenweiss. I don't really know what to make of them, to be honest. I think what kind of wound up happening is so Dorne was bad. There's like a bunch of shit they added in, and as the Dragon Demand points out, basically all the stuff they put in was just because they wanted to give certain characters more screen time. Like the whole Talissa honeypot thing was put in the show, and they took Jane Westerling out because they really like what's the guy's name who plays Robb Stark? It's not Kit Harington, that's Jon Snow. Whoever the actor who plays Robb Stark, they really wanted him to be in a romance plot, so they wrote the whole Talissa thing to put him in a romance plot. They added like a whole bunch of stuff just because they like certain actors. Like they like the actor who plays the Ramsay Bolton. So they made him a lot smarter. Like in the books, Ramsay is noted as being like really dumb. Like he's not a particularly intelligent character. All he's ever really done is betray people who already trusted him and tortured Richard Madison. Yes, thank you. Richard Madden, right. All he's ever done is betray people who already trust him, and what's the other thing he's done? Torture people who were under his power. So, like, torture Theon, who was in his dungeons. I mean, that doesn't really make you, like, tough or threatening to be able to torture people who, like I could do that. Anybody could do that. You got a guy under your power. He's in chains and shit. There's nothing you can really do. I mean, there's nothing he can really do to get back at you. So, yeah, that was kind of the issue with Ramsay Bolton. And in the show, they kind of made him into a villain, Sue. I think was a good way somebody put of it. Yeah, he just has completely become a villain, Sue, at this point in time. He's this just invincible, all-powerful, super strong guy that no one can do anything about. And then eventually he just got killed off, thankfully. I like his death scene. They kind of ruined show Sansa. I guess, I don't know. It's hard to kind of compare the show and the books because in some cases I think some things were done better. Like I think they got rid of a lot of characters who needed to be physically removed just because they were like just unnecessary complications, and I give them credit for that. On the other hand, a lot of the decisions they made removed, I don't know if it excessively compressed it. What do I think about Jon Snow and Daenerys being related? I think it's okay if they're both hot. I think that is my general... Whenever I'm thinking about incest, like, if they're really hot, then it's okay. If they're not both hot, then it's not okay. So, I guess that's kind of my answer for you. They're both Targaryens, so it's alright. The incest is okay. What did you think of the Littlefinger execution scene? I liked it. It was just very sudden. It seemed like it was too soon. Like we hadn't really fully gotten into the end game. And it just seemed like just to come out of nowhere. I kind of liked it. I just felt there wasn't enough build up to it. It just suddenly happened. And I guess that was kind of the point, was it was supposed to come out of nowhere. But I think they really haven't known where to take Sansa's character. Like, is she becoming, like, the next Littlefinger? Is she just too depressed? She just kind of seems to scowl a lot. And still not really have much agency. So, it is kind of, I think for me at least, difficult to really tell where her whole plot is going, to be perfectly honest. So, Sansa. One of the things I really hate is how many people ship her and what's his name? The Hound. They call it Sansan, and it's really obnoxious. I hate Sansan. The Hound is a horrible person. Arya, I don't really know what to make of Arya. I liked her in Game of Thrones, and I grew to like her less and less as the books went on. Largely because their chapters were just really fucking boring. Like, all the Faceless Men chapters were just unbearably awful. And all of the chapters where they're just wandering around Westeros. I guess part of the reason I liked the books was I just skipped a lot of shit. I skipped a lot of the filler. Like, I skipped entire plots. Like, I skipped all of the Dorne plot. I skipped all of the Iron Islands plot. I skipped all of the... what were some of the other plots I skipped? The Iron Isles plot, that plot, the some of the other ones. I don't know, there was a bunch of other ones. Dorne was the worst. Dorne was by far the worst plot of all. Like, it's probably the worst plot in the books and the show. As far as Arya goes, I just don't really know what to make of her, to be honest. With regards to who the hottest girl is on Game of Thrones, that's a difficult kind of thing to decide upon, because they all have kind of different things that are good about them. I guess, like, if I had to pick top three, it would be like Sansa, Marjorie maybe, and I don't know. It's hard to pick a third one. I really don't like Daenerys as a person, but Emilia Clarke is very beautiful. Lena Headey is very kind of inconsistent, I find, with how she looks. Sometimes she looks gorgeous, sometimes she looks like not good at all. I don't really know what to make of her. Okay, there we go. Who do you think has the best chances to rule the Iron Throne? It's an interesting question. I don't know, at this point I have absolutely no idea who's probably going to wind up ruling the Iron Throne by the end of the world. It looks like it's going to be Daenerys and Jon Snow, but it's hard to know. The nice thing about Daenerys and Jon Snow both getting together is that the North doesn't technically have to kneel. What happens is it becomes a personal union. Miranda. The girl who plays Mira Reed is pretty cute. Although Mira Reed is cute both in the books and in the show. So Sansa's obviously going to end up with her husband Tyrion. Maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes once we head into the end game of the show. Okay, I'm getting threatened for no reason. That's the kind of shitty diplomacy you have in Civ 5 and Civ 6. It is what it is. Yeah, Miranda was Ramsay's GF. Well, Ramsay had a couple GFs, just none of them happened to live very long, unfortunately. Good old Ramsay Bolton. He was a real piece of work, I suppose you could say. Anyways, I think that's gone on long enough for tonight. I should probably be getting to bed. Good night, guys. Talk to you again soon.